the face you're pulling when you do it.
It's because you're conscious of how close your fingers are to the end of that. Like.
Now, like we spoke about last time, I am going down the hill. I can't take you seriously, that's bastard.
Why?
If you do this the whole video,
Mate, it's safety first. Look, I look back at the last week's video.
You're not firing nothing. I'll do my safety squints.
I'll stand next to him and I go, is there any nails in this?
It didn't come that sharp actually, to be honest.
Welcome back to another episode.
Now last week we spoke about the first fix, Hikoki versus Paslode. And I think it's right that this week we'll be speaking about the second fix. Now again we'll be doing the point system, so let's get into it.
Let battle commence. So when it comes to second fix nail guns, they come in a variety of shapes and sizes and a variety in gauges, and what that means is actually the thickness of the nail depending on how big of a fixing that you want. So both Hikoki and Paslode do a nail gun in a 16 and an 18 gauge, but Hikoki edge it for me because they also have a 23 gauge which is on the same battery system. If you are a Paslode only fan, you're going to have to buy an additional brand, an additional battery and potentially different pins to suit having another nail gun. So definitely first point goes to Hikoki for variety.
So secondly, and one of the most importantly, we'll talk about price. Now both of these guns with a battery and a charger come around about the same price, give and take a few pound. Whereas if you've already on the Hikoki system, you've got the Hikoki battery, so for this body you can get for around about 350 quid. Now for me, I say Hikoki, take this one.
One very noticeable difference about these guns is the size and the weight. Hikoki, naturally because it's got a big 18 volt battery on the bottom, is always going to be heavier. It's not a problem for someone like me, but if you're Sam's build, having a light, or if you are just using the gun all day, every day, especially overhead, the weight of this one would come into it, so that's definitely an advantage. Yeah, definitely an advantage for Paslode.
I also feel that the difference between the first fix wasn't that great. However, I feel the difference between these two is a big difference.
Yeah, it's a lot more compact. I mean, you actually put that gun next to this one, and you can see the size and the weight difference. It definitely takes up less room. And the other advantage as well, if you're wearing a rig or a tool belt like we do, this is going to be heavy on your belt, where that you barely would know it's there. Yeah. So yeah, well done Paslode for keeping it nice and light for the
for the smaller build like myself. So we've Googled and Googled and Googled this.
Google's lying, man.
And they're lying, because we've got these both in
Someone's lying on their stat sheets.
And this one's heavier. I think by a long shot as well, if you put them in both hands.
I'd agree, yeah. They're not the same.
So I'm still giving the point to Paslode. Now we will mention that we talked about variety with the 23 gauge. However, this nail gun comes in both straight and angled. So if you prefer straight to angled or vice versa, you have that choice with Paslode. Whereas the Hikoki, all you've got is the angled. So I think for that, Paslode 1 point.
Brilliant, so actually getting a full depth for pin in there now. Right then, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to fire half a dozen nails each into some hardwood. Full depth, we've both got 45mm pins in.
Yes.
And just going to make sure that they bury the head, they sink the pin, and they don't hit any resistance on the way down. So just a little bit of a performance test to make sure it does exactly what you want it to. So Paslode up first, 6 nails please, Sammy boy.
Who was counting on the video?
Well, they all look pretty good and pretty buried, so Hikoki, don't let me down.
Right, that wasn't 6, but
That was
we'll
7.
let him off, it was 7. So it's clear on this video that Dave can't count.
Dave can't count, and it's clear on the video that both of them performed perfectly.
Yeah.
There is no resistance there is no heads up.
I think for that personally it is 1 point apiece. I think there's no difference between how well these heads were sunk. And this is
performance, both spot on. Can't complain with that at all. So there is one thing though that the Hikoki nail gun has got that the Paslode doesn't, and that is a bump fire mode, just like the first fix gun, which if you're doing any kind of repetitive work, like some slatted fencing or some panning like I was last week, the bump fire mode really comes into its own, speeds things up and helps you keep your lines nice and straight. So for that, it's got to be another point for Team Hikoki. Right, so to demonstrate the bump fire mode, what we're actually going to do is we're going to put one fresh clip of nails into both nail guns and just have a bit of a speed test and see how much faster it is using the bump fire mode compared to the Paslode. So let's get them loaded.
Put it to the test, Dwarf Dave. Now we will be speeding this up, obviously, because I think we're going to. Well, might be here a bit longer than you. Well, on 3, 2, 1,
go.
Oh, it's failed.
Wow.
Got to put it in.
I'll just wait for Sam to finish messing around with his gun while just get me tea. No pressure.
So as you can see, it could have gone either way. Big point to Hikoki.
Yeah.
We all knew it was going to happen.
It's always going to be faster.
I think for me, the bump fire mode, especially when you're doing arc tries, you're on price work. For me, I think that's hugely beneficial. Now, as we spoke about last time on the first fix, this one too is gas. Now it's great, don't get me wrong, now it's 12 degrees.
Yeah, it's nice warm February
But
day.
a lot of people, I mean, prove me wrong, but a lot of people, sub 2 degrees, you're gonna find a lot of troubles with these. So you'll find yourself putting them underneath your arm, putting them in your pocket, just to warm them up.
Down your
and
pants.
again, well, yeah, if they can fit. And now, especially when you're on price, this is a huge issue. There'll be nothing worse than having a cold gun at the start of a day and you can't fire a pin. So again, I think a point goes to Hikoki.
Reliability.
100%.
To summarise, it's a bit of a walkover for the Hikoki second fix gun.
And you can't argue with facts.
No, performance, reliability, everything goes in the favour of this one. So I think when we were talking last week about is there still a place for gas guns compared to the old battery systems now, if the performance of these guys keeps outweighing the old gas guns, I think it is a time to get with the times. Get yourself on a battery system, and maybe it is something that Paslode need to look at if they're not already in developments for a gasless gun.
Yeah. I think there's also one thing to add right at the end, is again, without the gas, the nails are cheaper.
Yeah.
So I think even the price comparison is the same. I think in the long run, if you're firing a couple of thousand nails a week, you're going to be better off in your pocket.
You're definitely saving at least a couple of breakfasts, and we know we all like that.
We sure do. So here is the final score, and I'll let you decide, Paslode or Hikoki. Let us know in the comments.
What are you currently running, and has this video perhaps persuaded a few people to think about moving forward with Hikoki?
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.